We'll be here with you until 10 a.m. this morning. The number to call is 340-773-0290 or 340-773-0490. I would like to begin by saying good morning, KJ. Good morning, Big Sis. Good morning, Christian said, Frederick said, Mid Island. Good morning, St. Thomas, Watt Island, St. John. Good morning, Florida, Texas, North Carolina. I mean, around the globe. I got friends all over that are listening. So, around the globe. I can't remember everybody right now. So, don't get upset. Good morning around the globe. Because I know you're here listening to me online, via TuneIn. I'm not sure if we're back on Facebook yet. But yeah, we're not on Facebook right now.
WSTXradio.com.
WSTXradio.com. So if you don't have TuneIn, you can listen on WSTXradio.com. Okay, so good morning, everyone. It's another Thursday. I know somebody get paid today. I think, if my memory serves me correct, it's a government payday. So government workers, don't spend it all in one place. You gotta save up some money. Juve coming, Christmas coming, Thanksgiving coming, So you gotta count them coins, so you can spend it wisely. Dougie,
Good morning.
morning. I said, barely hear you there, okay.
Yeah, again?
Morning, Dougie.
Good morning.
I'll turn up the Q a little bit. The Q is down.
Something's down.
Okay, while we fix that technical issue.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm waiting for.
Try now?
Good morning.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot better. Yeah, we got you in here now.
Okay.
Okay, now.
Can you go there, line?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'd like to remind everybody that we just came off of what would they call the Blind Awareness Month. So I'll tell you, be kind to the blind. Um, Blind etiquette. Sometimes you may look at it as a joke, and it may be a bit disheartening for the individual when you walk up and tap them on the shoulder or walk up and say, um, this way, this way. It may be a joke for you, but guess what? It's not a joke to that individual. You come up to somebody who's blind, identify yourself so that they know who you are. Maybe your name might jog a memory, because guess what? Unless your voice is distinct or we have interacted with you for regularly, we don't remember voices like that. It takes a lot out of a person to remember somebody's voice. So, just be kind. Identify yourself. Say, oh, it's Joe. Oh, it's Susie. Let the person know who you are and move on.
No, you're good.
So, yeah, just a little reminder. Dougie?
Yes, sir. Good morning to everyone. Okay. Good morning, Big Sis. Continue to keep him in line. Okay. And Gerard, I
Yes, sir.
checking, you got a slick way of moving, being right even when you ain't right. Okay? Cause you using my word kind and kindness and everything else, but still can't quite make it all the way to the high road and make it a random act of kindness. I checking you, brother. Okay, and I
What?
have it
Because,
all
because,
recorded now.
because I say be kind to the blind?
No, not because of that.
Because of what?
That's just evidence of your awareness of the importance of that particular word. Okay, so now I build a case against you that this is deliberate malfeasance and conspiratorial and state of mind intent. Okay, I get my evidence, Gerard.
You can say
I
what you
see what
want,
you
right? But still do a random act.
do.
Don't forget, people, do a random act, okay? Don't study dog. Just do a
Okay,
random act.
of kindness, please, of kindness. Yes. Okay.
You can say what you want, like I said. Do a random act.
So
That's
anyhow, you know, if all you plan for life and life plans for you.
mm-hmm.
And part of my plan is to hopefully be back on St. Croix shortly. Okay, that's my plan. No, you don't control everything. Just look how the other day you have, well, I should say, oh no, you have what's going on with the airlines to deal with, as well as other things uh, that are going on. So what's the plan? That's always a question. What's the plan, and who's working on it? For everything, not just Doug, for everything. What's the plan and who's working on it? Now, we have once again gone through a situation that has shown how vulnerable the Virgin Islands is relative to shutdowns, funds being clawed back, all of these different things that can ultimately impact things like hospital services, availability to have certain types of care, the consistency of the supplies at our hospital, Medicaid, and what that would the cuts in Medicaid further does in terms of the hospitals having to rely on government subsidy to an even greater degree. Child care, WIC, SNAP, all of these things. There's a rumor out there that the fact of the matter is the court said that you have to pay money pay the money for SNAP, telling the federal government that, but the part of money that was supposed to be there, nobody could find it. Getting man don't go with it. Um, you know, um, in that Calypso song, "Who holding the bag?" Who holding the bag? So
Yeah,
anyhow,
who run the bag?
yeah. So
Who put their hand in the cookie jar?
yeah, so we have quite a bit going on in the Virgin Islands that I call like inflammation, minor headaches. The bigger issues still need to be addressed, but hey, we're gonna see where all of that is going, because the fact of the matter is we're still dealing with what this thing that we call WAPA and that indebtedness. We have what's going on with the airports. I see that there's some bill with regards to fixing the racetrack. I mean, it's as easy as passing a bill. Well, how come it takes so long to pass a bill? And that might be oversimplifying it, but who
They
feels
need
it
the
knows it?
support.
Huh?
They need the support.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Who feels it knows it? Now,
Yes.
you you indicated to me that folks on participating in VI Hill
Uh-huh.
are now being given tickets
Yeah.
for participating in VI Hill.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's to me, that's a height of ignorance. Because there's a bill on the floor that they tabled. They need to bring that bill back up and pass that bill for the right chair bill.
Yeah,
Y'all need to
okay.
go and talk to y'all representative, the seven senators here in St. Croix and the one for St. John, because as a person who uses the service, it is a convenience for me, and it
And so,
should be a convenience for you. Okay, because let's 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 be real. After 5 p.m. in the afternoon, you can't find a taxi. But guess what? You could catch a hill. You can
yeah,
catch a
well,
hill 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You can't do that with taxi.
okay. I am right there with you on that. Let me move forward a little bit here so that it'll all come together because lobbying, some people think that it's just people with big money can lobby. Folks, your numbers make all the difference in the world. If you look at those three major elections that happen in the US, the bottom line is the people won, not big money in that context. It's small people contributions, whether it was money or campaigning, whatever, that made a difference. And that works
Mhm.
for every issue. It works for every issue. It doesn't have to just be that they have to have an election going on. And the people of the Virgin Islands, especially on St. Croix, need to start putting those type of what should I call it, strategies into motion. That's what they need to do to make sure that the things that are important to them are addressed. Being on a talk show and complaining about something really does nothing. In fact, most of the politicians have already calculated that you're going to just make a lot of noise and then go about your business, and that's the end of it. And once you realize that, then my question is, well, what are you complaining for? If that's all you're going to do, and they don't have a formula that basically lets you vent, and then it all just dissipates as hot air. Okay. Now, the the government has a legitimate concern, and I don't know that this concern has been voiced yet, but they have a legitimate concern because with taxis, you have taxi medallion, you have these people file taxes, so forth and so on accordingly. Now, in the VI Hail world, and for whatever it's worth to the community, want you to know that we're going to have VI Hail I should say, we're scheduled to have them on our show next Thursday. Okay. So when you work for VI Hail, whether you're considered an employee or contractor, there's money that's being passed, and it goes directly to VI Hail, and then VI Hail in turn pays the individual. And it's a reliable process by which people participate, because if they were getting short of their money, they wouldn't be participating.
True.
Well, if money is an issue, the fact of the matter is that a system can be put in place where VI Hail, just like Airbnb, puts in place the necessary um, technology so that the basic tax deduction based on maybe the person's, what was the W-4, that those things are automatically taken out and sent to IRB on behalf of the particular individual. Let's just say, okay, it can be done. So in terms of the money side of it, if the government is saying that there's money passing here and somehow the other is not accountable in the context of us getting our cut of it, and that can be addressed. And that would be a cowardly way of justifying doing what they're doing. And I coming back right back to you, Gerard, with regards to the taxis and availability. I've had people who wanted to come on the show and they're waiting by the side of the road and they have to call me and say, well, Doug, I can't make it because I was hoping to catch a taxi, but today is one of the days that it looked like they ain't running. Unfortunately, those people have moved on so that in that event, they call VI here and they get to the station. Okay.
Mhm.
So, and that's just the 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 common sense part of it is that transportation and economic activity are intertwined.
Yeah.
There's so much of our economic activity that is not online operated or online compatible. It's people face to face exchanging, plugging in a credit card, selecting the specific product that they want to make sure, well, I didn't just get eggs, but I get the ones that look good to me. You start ordering eggs online, you get what you get. And your word against this. How we know you ain't swap out some egg, this, that, and the other, da, 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 da. You know, as simple as that. There's some things that just have to be face to face to some degree. So they are systematically out the way Vitran and Vitran Plus to some extent, the way they operate in the Virgin Islands is not consistent with a desire for economic activity that the government says it desires.
Oh no. When you have a
Okay?
for Vitran Plus, you have a disability, you better be in a house by 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
Even
well,
about one,
not well. Well, this
even
is what
about
I'm
1 hour.
saying. Well, that's one part of it. The fact that things shut down by a time and totally eliminates a block of hours where a whole lot of economic activity takes place.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going. That's Vitran Plus, and then
Mm-hmm.
you get to Vitran. I remember when a family member of mine came down here, and they didn't have the transportation, and for a while there, they were doing pretty good with the bus service.
If it's road.
In fact, they would take some of their family, as in little children, on the ride with them on the bus to go and do their business.
Mm-hmm.
And then things just kept on going downhill, downhill, and so now it's taxi, ride share, or their own car. And then taxi got so unresponsive that it became I have this taxi driver number, and if I need to go to the airport or something like that, then we could pre-schedule. That's fine. But I also know that that same situation, you call a particular taxi driver, that doesn't mean that they're available. And if the person they want to refer you to isn't available, where does that leave you? If you have rideshare that has a pool of people that they don't have to worry about that problem. So how do we get the taxi service to be more like rideshare? Now, what is the role that the taxi service, as it was envisioned so many years ago, is supposed to play in the Virgin Islands? It remains to be seen, because you have these taxi medallions and the value of these taxi medallions, and they don't want to undermine the value, but you don't want to create a kind of a monopolistic situation where more efficient and more supportive systems of economic activity are, what's the word I would use? How should I put? Disqualified, because then you're supporting a particular business just for the sake of supporting that business. Okay, it's another view of that is the opportunity that you have to hook up to WAPA, but you also have the opportunity to go to solar battery, whatever, so forth and so on, so that WAPA becomes your backup generator. So with the issues we have in WAPA, imagine tomorrow that they just outlaw solar slash solar battery or put some outrageous fee for having it on you. Then what they would be really doing is saying that they are systematically trying to discourage anybody from being able to escape the black hole that WAPA can be or is, depending on who you talk to. Okay. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to all work out. Okay. Switching subjects here. Long ways away from us, but Sudan and the war in Sudan. I would highly encourage people to just go and Google and find out who are the proxies, PROXY, okay, of the Sudan war. Because what's happening is that you have various countries and various countries' interests that are on both sides. It's really interesting when you hear you have a war going on in a country and it's this faction versus that faction, like this faction versus the government. And when you really look underneath the cover, what you're seeing is that no, it's these other countries that financing this, and they all have some type of interest in one side or the other. It's just like when you look at rare earth minerals and oil, and the places America goes and gets involved in conflicts. I mean, there's a clear connection. when when you look at Africa and you see these places that have gold, oil, rare earth minerals, this, that, and the other, but the people dirt poor. More often than not, you can trace to where the European powers and the colonial powers have come in and set up these governments that basically are people who live high on the hog, a small group of people, and everybody else starve, while billions of dollars are funneled out of the country. It's real. It's what's going on out there. But the more you know about it, the more you're aware about it, the more the wheels of justice turn so slow, grind that much finer, and in some way, somehow, in the future, is going to change. I look at Burkina Faso and what's going on there, and all the so-called negative or non-mentioned by the press of what's going on there. Which, if ever there was a time to be suspect about the press, I think it's now. There's so many important things that you're not hearing anything about. The ballroom and the White House is not going to put food on nobody's table. It's not going to put gas in anybody's car. It's not going to pay for their bill at the hospital, or it's not going to ensure that they have hospitals in their area, that they don't have a medical desert in their area, or food desert in their area, or whatever. But yet it's on the news, on the news, on the news, on the news. Okay. As I said,
Mm-hmm.
it's like herring. Did I put these things up in people's nose and tell them follow the scent? How you gonna follow a scent and they don't corrupt your ability to follow a scent? So it's one of those things. Anyhow, today at 9 o'clock, we have the VI Palestinian organization coming in to talk about a function that they have coming up at the grounds there, the agricultural fairgrounds, and we'll talk more about that. It's now 27 minutes after the hour of 8, 27 minutes after the hour of 7 where I am. Okay. But for the show, 27 minutes after the hour of 8. All right, our phone numbers, Jerry. Our phone still work.
I don't know, ain't ring yet.
Anything yet? Or, or
No.
or or we sent out the wellness check on some people yet? No, but serious.
The numbers to call 340-773-0390 or 340-773-0490.
Okay.
That's the
And that,
numbers to call to get in on the conversation.
all right. Now, Devon called us last week, and it was good that he called in earlier because sometimes he has some very good points and very interesting things to talk about. But when you call in at 2 minutes before the show gonna done, it can't work. It can't work. But one of the things that he said, and not in terms of making a point, um, but more so in terms of the government's ability to respond to certain things. Um, you could have money, but if the money is compartmentalized in ways that you can't just access that money, it has restrictions on it. It, it really redefines what having money means. If you have monies from the federal government that are restricted for a specific purpose and through specific channels, if you have a need that's outside of that purpose and channels, you could be sitting on mountains of money, but you can't address that issue.
True.
Because at least not with those funds. So in that context, whatever monies the Virgin Islands directly raises through taxes, etc., and other contractual arrangements, there that money is a finite amount of money. And the other aspect of that money is that when they tell you we budget for $2 billion for this fiscal year, what they're really saying is that over 12 months, we expect ABC amount of money to come in. So much projected per month, probably, based on looking back at um, at other times. Now, in Canada, they have a business that in agriculture dealing with blueberries, and it has some very serious droughts. So as a result, they're seeing a double-digit drop in their ability to produce this crop and get it to market. So what does that mean? That means that the money that they had projected for their budget to come from taxes on this particular industry is going to fall short. Same thing with any other activity in that context. If any you have any disruption, then the cash flow changes. So if you don't have the money and you're in a supermarket your card full up with $1,000 worth of stuff, but you only got $300. Well, you can only go out with the $300. And when you get the rest money, you can come back and get the other stuff. And that's where we are. I wish it was as simple as everybody could plant a money tree. I could get a soursop tree in my yard. I could get a moringa tree in my yard, but somehow the other I ain't find a money tree. Gerard, you have to tell me where to find one. Okay? Because this money tree is just eluding me. All right. Now,
I gotta tell you where to find it.
well, you the man that could see. You got the vision. Where should I look, Gerard? I look into you.
Well, if I could find it, you ain't gonna find it.
You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. Um. Anyhow, it's this morning it was 34 degrees, and I see that it looked like going down into the week. It's going to get to 28 degrees. So it's kind of on the cool side of things. Seen a few flurries here and there, nothing sticking yet. And hopefully by the time things get to sticking, I will be on a flight out of here. Oh yeah, yeah. Love me some St. Croix, my son. Okay? Love me some of that sun and rain and sun and you know, Gerard, you think I might even start to miss the pothole them or
Probably.
what? It's amazing what being away from home would do, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, another issue that well, not an issue. The library in Christiansted. The library in Christiansted. Gerard, you told me something about we had conversation about some discussion about the library and turn it into a museum.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what
Now,
was said by the chief executive.
okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you. Um, I sometimes I just don't know what people were thinking in terms of how we build what we build and how we build it.
Mhm.
But it is what it is. The bottom line is that the first floor of that building is below the water line. You notice that? Well, I want to know why our libraries are built like that. Because in Frederick said that's the same situation, right? The first floor of that building there below the water line.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um,
yeah,
I
that's it.
pause.
That's
Mhm.
where that's where the flood all the time.
Right. Okay. So now, even as a museum, is suspect as to you have valuable works of art or artifacts or something like where you're going to put them. Okay. But I personally believe that if you're going to do that for the library, if someplace need to be a museum, what is currently government house needs to be a museum. I don't think it should be the center of government operations here on St. Croix. I think, I got a right to use this noggin that I got here, right? I think that we need a government building for government operations that's centralized and with the proper what do you call it? Satellites in the appropriate places to do the government business. And I give an example now, knowing that these are all financial greasing of the palms are going on, okay, as far as I'm concerned. But it just so happens it's something that need to be done. So you say one, you say two. I'm not complaining. It is what it is. All right. But right now, all of the lieutenant governor's operations are being consolidated in what used to be the Caribbean building across here from Sunny Isle.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they bought a
Uh,
building.
say again. Say again.
They bought a building.
Which building?
The building that we know used to be First Pennsylvania Bank.
Oh yeah, but
That's
that's a
owned by
joke.
that's
That's a
owned by
joke, Gerard.
yeah. But I mean, they bought this building, had the building sitting down there, and they pay rent elsewhere.
But Gerard, follow me. You made a very valid point. Why we buy the building to put it down, right? And maybe it's palm greasing going on there. Maybe it's just a convenient um, financial exchange. All right, but that building when you just pass Pueblo heading out on Miracle Mile, that's long gone. That's bush. I forget the name of what they used to call it.
So building,
The Toro building.
yeah.
You see people go in there and dig up and clear out and everything else and so forth and so on, put some makeshift fencing around it and whatever, and then they just stay there and nothing happened with it. As far as I'm concerned, Gerard, somebody was just given a contract to go in and clean up the place.
But
and make it look like something was getting ready to happen there.
yeah, but I think they recently they were doing something there. They had plans to put the mobile morgue over there.
Well, but they could have all the plans they want to have, Gerard. This is what I'm saying. These plans become a vehicle by which they do these financial things and somebody benefits, but in the end, the service being fortified or developed or built up for the community somehow never materializes.
I need to
Okay?
get one. I need to get one of them thing like what my boy in Florida have
Yeah, but
with my
yeah,
and go walk through
I
Bob
hear
my
you, but that even so, they gonna wear metal armor. But anyhow, coming full circle back to what I was saying is that now you can go to one place and get these services that you had to go here, there, and everywhere to get.
right.
Now, I think it's still good that we plan on having satellite services in Christiansted, satellite services in Frederickstead. But there's a basic part of this that's not being effectively addressed, which is that if you pick up a form that basically means that you fill out this form and go to a cashier and pay the fee, and they stamp the paper to so that this form means that you are now entitled to do ABCXYZ, and it doesn't need any type of other intellectual intervention. That's all that's needed. You
Mhm.
still have to make a pilgrimage down the road to do these things. Now, some things, if you need a good standing letter for your business, now you can get on to corporations and trademarks and pay the fee and so forth and so on. If your business is in the system as in good standing, they send you the good standing form via email even. All right. Now that's important because some of these things that don't require you to go and sit in an office and wait in line and burn gas to do so that you can get your nonprofit going and meet with everybody over Zoom or whatever and do your nonprofit work without having to have people decide whether they're going to stay home and cook or take care of their family member or whatever, that they could do it from their house, their office, wherever. Or we have to lean more to where we accommodate that. Now, let me tell you the game that I see going on
Mhm.
is that sometimes and when I have to deal with, I'm not going to beat up on today. But they have a tendency of setting up things where you um in person is totally eliminated. And that is an arrogant way to deal with things and a very unfortunate way to deal with things because there are people, if you want to call it a lack of technological skills or whatever, who are somehow falling through the cracks. There might be something that you need to come in and talk to somebody who is the professional in that area to
Mhm.
explain to you. Now, that's one of the ways that government is being disingenuous in terms of saying, oh, see, we're keeping up with the times. Okay, let me give you another example, a very simple other example. How many government agencies, when you call, you have to identify somebody to connect to. And if it goes to a point where it tells you that you can dial zero for the operator, you dial zero for the operator, it comes back to the same thing that tells you to choose somebody to talk to. Or worse yet, the system just hangs up on you.
Yeah. That's like almost all government offices now.
All right, and I remember back in the days. I'm not sure what the legislation was, but I believe Senator White and colleagues were involved in it to make sure that government agencies had somebody to respond
Yeah,
in
and
person.
I pause and answer the phone. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep, yep. But
But
here
let
we
me
are.
but let me ask you a question.
Hmm.
That same building you were talking about previously, the old Caribbean Home Center building. Do you remember when Governor Mack put a proposal out to buy that building?
Well, I don't remember in that context, but let me just say this, right?
Uh,
It have a group of people, almost like a think tank,
hmm
that when they get wind of these things, they try to figure out a way how they could stop the government from making these moves, and they go and get it and leverage it in terms of turn around and leasing to the government, renting to the government. Um,
Well, it was
uh,
the same legislature, the same government tell he was crazy. Now the same government now turn around and renting from the same building they were supposed to buy. I
right.
never, I never see
Well,
that. Yes.
it's just like it's just like when WAPA rents a turbine and pays for it 10 times over and aren't 1 inch closer to ever owning anything. If you understand where I'm coming
That
from.
don't make no sense.
Okay, so I'm just saying that if you want to look at it, and I put it that way, because as I said, there are a group of people who have a financial interest that they pursue very aggressively to ensure that when the time comes that this thing is worth some money, that we're gonna be well positioned. You look at the area that Scotiabank is in St. Thomas. WAPA was supposed to get that, but somebody said it's floodland and they're going to sink. Why you want to invest in that? Well, I don't see Scotiabank in St. Thomas. What was Scotiabank then? I don't see the building sinking. Multi-level garage operation and everything. I don't see it sinking. But somehow or the other, this is how it works. You have buildings in our towns that are owned by folks who basically keeping it in their derelict state, waiting for the economic boom when they can leverage and make money hand over fist, either by sale
Right.
or otherwise
Oh, thank you.
or otherwise through some other type of um, financial dealings. Okay, so now for the person who say, I didn't know that, or for true, and then they gone back to planning for Juve, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it because if you want to complain about something but not do anything about it, then I don't want to hear about it. No.
A weekend blows all year round from all different angles. No.
Yeah. Well, no, we're
No,
beating
no,
ourselves.
yeah,
Brother, we're
yeah,
beating
I
ourselves.
know,
We got to
I
take
know. But
responsibility.
weekend blows all year round, right? No, you will make and they up in arms because they change Juve, the date for Juve and all this kind of thing. I mean, where's your priorities? That's what I tell you. Crucial people are vex me, the man. They don't vex me. Where your priorities there? Your priorities are Juve, party, and we have more pressing things happening here in the Virginians that need your input. You understand?
Yeah. Well, it is what it is, and it's not to throw stones. Hopefully, it is to kind of get people to look at what their priorities are and think about what their priorities are. Now, let's talk a little bit about money and money strategies. Okay, you've got um you've got folks that they sell a piece of property, and let's say it's a good piece of property. Let's say you you have $1 million piece of property and you sell that property. Okay, you sell that property, you get that $1 million, $300,000 at least done gone in terms of taxes. You follow me?
Mhm.
So that means that if you wanted to buy another piece of $1 million property, you $300,000 short. Now, what happens is what can happen is that you set up your appropriate trust or other organization that has a different tax rate than you as an individual, a better tax rate than you as an individual.
Mhm.
Okay? And if that trust owns that property and sells that property, it has other avenues by which it can defer and defer and defer and defer taxes on that transaction. Or by doing the transaction and for purposes of another investment, and you have proof of that investment, then you never really pay any taxes. Now, this is not something that only Doug alone could do, or only Gerard alone could do. Anybody could do it. The same way that anybody else could have saved up the money and opened up a gas station or a supermarket or whatever else. And I'm saying that because we have these folks who are always looking at other people's yard and complaining about how the yard look. And they think they this and they think they that and so forth and so on. That's we still kind of on that level. And we got to figure out how we're going to get ourselves out of that level. Right. So, and you mentioned Juve and priorities. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to live their life. But don't come back complaining later, and don't come into my circle of conversation to be talking about the problems that you didn't get involved in solving. That's what it comes down to. Okay. Anyhow, this weekend is the last weekend at Caribbean Community Theater for the Face of Emmett Till. Now, you hear all the talk about history being erased and this and that and so forth and so on. From what I can see, they are doing a fantastic job of through an entertainment venue dealing with serious historical issues. And I say issues because this is just one play. Another time, anybody wants to challenge me, I can go down the list of plays that they've had there that deal with serious historical issues. It's not all musicals and laughter and so forth and so on. Even if there's laughter, you can use comedy as a vehicle of serious discussion also. So, anyhow, if you're interested, and I highly recommend it, that you want to go and see The Face of Emmett Till. I don't know to what extent that these things are being talked about, let's say at UVI, where you have a core of our young people going to school, higher education, history, everything else, science, so forth and so on. But for them to see and understand that this isn't just a play, but a reflection on history. I'd be interested to know how that type of outreach works, because it's important that it be generationally um, flexible, to that these lessons and the flow of information is not just going into a generation that is less so coming in, more so going out than coming in. All right. So Friday and Saturday, the show starts at 8 p.m. and Sunday they have a matinee that starts at 4. Well, it's close to Thanksgiving, Christmas time, anyhow. So we know the sun going down kind of aggressively now, but 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon is better than 8 o'clock if the darkness is what you're trying to avoid. Right now, the the history of things that have happened, whether in the Virgin Islands, or in the United States, is all applicable in terms of consciousness and where it is that you want to go. I highly recommend The Face of Emmett Till at Caribbean Community Theater. You know, it's right there above the Pueblo supermarket area. When you're going, you pass Pueblo to Pueblo would be on your right as you're going up the hill, and the very first right turn you make to go by the old Yellow Bird slash the new uh, uh, Benton Construction there, J. Benton Construction, and that road
What
takes
they call
you.
it now?
Well, that's who's there.
So they used to call it the Easterly Building. Yeah,
The Easterly Building, that too.
yeah,
You know, that sounds like something that we need to do a list of various buildings that have a name. You know, whenever I drive through politically correct Sunday Market Square, I mean, the thing that comes to my mind is Times Square. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything like that. That's what comes to my mind, Times Square. You
yeah,
know, and it's just like language where you have different words to say the same thing. Okay, I know you've seen some of them interesting lists of words that stand for something, right? Okay,
yeah.
I ain't going there with you. But anyhow, Gerard,
I know.
where your mind gone, Gerard?
Talking
Stay
about
with the
Times
ship.
Square. Talking about Times Square. You know,
Okay.
I was telling somebody that right there, as you're coming out of Times Square, to go either left to head west or
Mm-hmm.
right to go back down in town. I was
Mm-hmm.
telling somebody as a child, I remember a stoplight being there.
I remember it too.
They were like, really? I said, yeah,
In
that's stoplight right there.
in fact, we need to throw out and ask anybody who have a picture of that intersection with a stoplight, just for
Yeah,
historical purposes. That
yeah,
intersection with a
I
stoplight.
remember the stoplight being there. Before, right there, because you could have go up the hill to the boys and where now is well you the boys and girls club up there,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, or you go left to head out of town, or you go right to go back down in town,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a stoplight right there. I remember that.
Those were the days.
Yeah,
Those were the days. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
But
that,
anyhow, the face of Emmett
yeah.
Till
That's
is
the
there.
the one person or
Just one.
just one
Oh,
person.
are folks coming in? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
we
let
have
me let
one.
me finish up with that little announcement there. The Face of Emmett Till is going on at Caribbean Community Theaters, and it starts at 8 o'clock. I highly recommend that you'll be there at 7 o'clock when the box office opens. So not only can you get your tickets, but that you can get your choice seating. All right. Good thing, good thing, good thing. Definitely want to check that out. And also, just a reminder, next weekend, not weekend, but next Thursday, we have VI Hale scheduled to come in here for 9 o'clock to talk to you, the people. All right. So, our guest starting to roll in.
Yeah, we have one person in here. I guess we could do the top
Well,
of the
when they're
hour.
ready, we'll do the top of the hour. When they're ready, we'll set up and proceed.
Hey, Dougie, I'm
Um,
already here. How are you?
Hey,
I'm doing well. You're already here, and I thought that it was you and a whole crowd, but I know that you're a good spokesperson, so that's not to say anything. in that regard. So you having folks accompanying you? Are you ready to move on with the show?
Actually, Ahmad Hussein was going to be here with me, but unfortunately, he had to open the store this morning. One of his employees called
No
in and
problem.
he had to
No
open.
problem. It's coming up. It's coming up on the top of the hour.
Right.
So
Yeah.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna be taking a break in a minute to deal with the top of the hour, and then we'll be coming to you and that part of the show. All right.
Sounds good.
So yeah, so I was just talking about the face of Emmett Till that's playing at the Caribbean Community Theater, among the very good plays that they have had that have some type of reflection history wise, and it's important that we, as much as possible, that the people who go to these plays, or the people that these plays can reach, are multi-generational. Because right now, in the same way that we have people who are being born and think that the bypass was always there, and people who are being born and will may never know that they used to have a stoplight there by the Times Square intersection going into town. Um, it's so much that is can just slip away. And one of the good things about the internet in particular, allows so much of history to be brought up and reviewed in ways that a lot of people saying, well, wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that. But the more we give an opportunity for people to say, hey, that's interesting. I didn't know that, but now I know something about it.
Okay, so
It gives them a starting point. Anyhow, I see that the marshal is here.
yeah, the marshal is here, so we're gonna take a break, pay some bills, keep the lights on, keep the mics on. We'll be back after these messages.
All right.
Find us on the World Wide Web at www.wstxradio.com. WSTX AM and FM stream all conscious reggae and Virgin Islands news, talk, calypso, and Velve 24/7, 365.
We are back. We are back. We have a caller on line two. Um, let's get to the caller so we can clear the lines before we get to our guests in the studio. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning. How are you guys today?
We're doing great, but you got
Yes.
about 3 minutes because we have a guest in the studio.
Oh, you gotta get to the studio?
Yes, sir.
You want me? I'll call back then.
Oh, well, you can do that after the guest gets off.
Okay,
All right.
right.
All right. Dougie?
Not there.
Sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Okay, I am right here with you. Just had to, somebody was running me down there, so I had to respond.
You're running it down.
Yeah, man. Had to jump off the side of the road to keep from getting run over.
Well, hey, something you got to run in the bush behind a tree.
Yeah,
The tree
yeah,
was
yeah.
something.
Hey, tell me about it. Tell me about things that's
Okay,
happened.
so
So
in the
we're back.
studio,
So we're back, and we have a guest in the house. All right, we ready to go?
yeah, I guess. Are you ready to go?
Okay. All right. Good morning.
So, the
Good
floor is
morning,
yours.
Liz.
Introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Liz Goggins, and today I am here representing the Virgin Islands Palestinian Friendship Association. So we have an event coming up on the 23rd. And before I talk about that, which is our Friendship Festival, prior to that, at the beginning at 11 a.m., there will be a workshop that will be put on. And let me get her name because I don't want to get her name incorrectly. Okay, her name is Shatha Najim, and she works with the Arab American National Museum in Michigan, and she is coming here to do a really fascinating workshop that's going to take place right before the Friendship Festival begins. And the workshop is going to be on how to do your family's oral history. I know many people here have done their family's history, and this is an oral history, which is a little different than if you're writing it out. And so, her focus, being from the Arab American Museum, is of course the Arab community, but her workshop is for everyone, anyone who's interested in recording your history, because it's so important. Once the elders pass, that incredible encyclopedia of knowledge is gone, So I think it's really exciting that people are getting more into recording that history. I do regret in my family we didn't do that, because there's things I'm wondering about now that had I asked years ago, I would have known, and we could have recorded it. So that workshop, which is open to everybody, is free of charge. The festival is free admission. So that will be beginning at 11 a.m. And it's going to be, our whole event is at the Ag Fair, grounds.
Mhm.
So, and we're going to be in the area of where they hold the Saturday morning market.
Okay.
Up at the eastern side of the fairgrounds. So we'll be up there. So the workshop is actually going to take place within the pavilion. It will be interesting, and I really hope a lot of people come out from that, historians, elders, and especially young people. The young people are the ones that should be learning how to do this so they can sit with their elders, while they have time, and get that history, because it's so important for everyone, and so important here for the Virgin Islands. So aside from you know, what we read in history books to get the stories from the people who actually lived the experiences is so much more meaningful and heartfelt than it would be from reading something, an old newspaper story or something, you know. So we're really looking forward to a lot of people coming out for that workshop. And Shaka has been working with some families here already via Zoom. So she'll be following up with that. But that's a really interesting event that's going to be taking place. Ducky, anything to say? You usually have Dougie.
Well, no, I'm happy to have someone coming to talk on that particular subject.
Mm-hmm.
In the Virgin Islands in particular, there's been a kind of behavior that it's somebody else's job to do these things. And in fact, it's not somebody else's job. It's not a job. It's just either you do it, you don't, and then you have what you have or you don't have. And in this world where everybody has an iPhone now,
Exactly.
everybody, when they go and they sit down with granny or grandpa or auntie or whoever, when they travel to their respective island and see other relatives, they need to be setting up their iPhone, setting it to record with both of them in the picture and talking about what may be mundane or significant aspects of their elders' childhood, games they used to play, particular events that happened that just really seared in their mind that they will never forget. You know, and on, 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 on. And the fact of the matter is, when those folks are gone, you don't have that anymore. Um, I learned things, but just by being around my mom, I learned things that she never talked about when we were children back in St. Croix. And so I've got my recorder and everything else, and I got my plans for dealing with those things and so forth and so on. But we all need to do it because there's so much history, so much substance in our family, and it has value. Don't lose it. Okay. So
Exactly.
anyhow, I don't want to go on and on, but definitely I'm happy to see that that is happening, and I hope that people come out and support. Always know you can learn something from somebody else. So if you already think you got a strategy and know how you're going to do it, you never know what you might learn from someone else in the process.
Right. And her focus is going to be in helping people learn how to get started. You know, what questions do you ask to get people to start talking? Um, sorry. And forgot to turn my phone off. My apologies. Um, so, you know, the questions to ask, and, you know, what type of conversation do you have with maybe one elder as opposed to aunts and uncles, a group of people. So, you know, she'll give you those ideas on how to smoothly get people into talking, making them feel comfortable. And like I said, I regret I never did something like that with my family. I know, for instance, my grandmother came from Ireland, came to the US, went back to Ireland, and then came back again. So why did she do that? I don't know, you know. So those things, while they might not be important to you when you're young, if you from people our age, I can say it is important. Learn your family's history, record it because you've got all the tools right in your hand. So we're really excited to be sponsoring this workshop. And we're doing it along with UVI and Denise Blanchett. So this is a joint project between UVI and the Palestinian Friendship Association. So,
All right. Good
yeah.
thing.
And so, like I said, that's taking place before the Friendship Festival, which is going to be a great afternoon. We've got so many wonderful things planned. And like I said, free admission. So everybody, please come out. And like I said, it's going to be up at the eastern end where they do the Saturday morning market. And let's see, for entertainment, the entertainment's going to be great. And the entertainment's going to start around 1 p.m. The festival starts at noon. The entertainment's going to start around 1. And we've got Classic Touch with Toby and Pio, who are wonderful. I love those guys. I love their music. And then we have, and part of me, first, if I mess this up, because one thing I've never been good at is other languages or other accents. The quadrille dancers, so we did, quadrille dancers, which I know I didn't say properly, and that please.
We there.
Answers we there.
Thank you so much. Someday before I die, I'll learn to say that properly.
Just say we, they, yeah.
We, they, yeah.
Yeah. Close
Okay.
enough.
Thank you. So they'll be dancing, and we have a DAPCA dance group coming from Michigan, and those are Palestinian Arab dancers. And one of the things which I think is going to be truly wonderful and great fun, as when the quadrille dancers finish their performance, they then will dance with people from the audience and teach audience members quadrille. But what they're going to do that day is have the DAPCA dancers dance with them. So they'll be teaching the Palestinian dancers quadrille. And then we'll be playing some Palestinian music. And the Palestinian DAPCA dancers will teach the quadrille dancers the Palestinian dance. So it'll be an interesting cultural exchange there as each group will be teaching the other their local dance, which I think will be great fun and great fun to watch. It'll be wonderful to see that cultural exchange right there. So that's going to be right after Classic Touch. Then we're going to have maybe about 10 minutes of welcome speeches, etc. And then we'll have the Palestinian dancers. And then at the end of the day, we have Fire Train. And we're really excited to have Fire Train. They're such a good group, and people love them. So that's our entertainment. Plus, we'll have the Starlight Twirlers. And of course, we cannot do an event on St. Croix without the Guardians of Culture, Mako Jumbies.
Marco Jumbi.
Have to have the Mako Jumbies. I love them. And I truly love watching the youngsters, the teenagers and the younger children who are just learning. They put so much energy and heart into their performance. So they will definitely be out. Okay. Vendors, we have lots of vendors. We've got food, we've got, Children's Museum. Children's Museum is going to be there. They'll have a tent with different activities for children. We've got Jungle James will be setting up a petting zoo. We've got the People Dam will have a storytelling area with a community art project. We've got Neighborhood Pharmacy. We've got, I don't know the name of her shop, Judith Figueroa will be out there with some great fashion. Melanie Rains will be out there with makeup. We've got some jewelry artists coming out. We'll have all kinds of different food. And the food, we're having, of course, local food and Palestinian food. So the Palestinian food will be later in the afternoon. So we encourage everybody to come out and stay because that food is wonderful, delicious. And I don't eat meat, so they told me they're going to make a lot of Palestinian vegetable dishes this year to make sure everybody's really, really happy with the choice of food. So that's going to be later in the day, probably around 3:30. And that's going to be in the pavilion. And we're also going to have a display of Palestinian art and culture, and the food and the cultural display will be in the pavilion. Everybody else will be in the booths and tents around the stage. And so we'll have all of that going on. So it's a lot going to be packed into hours. So
Okay, fantastic. The I wish I was there. From the perspective, it's a great cultural exchange. It sounds like a great cultural exchange is going to be happening there.
mhm,
And you know, one of the things that I've come to appreciate is how, in a sense, myopic. There's this big place, but somehow we have this small focus, and to us, that's the world.
mhm,
And when it comes to food, there's so much in the world that we have yet to discover. Just in fruits, you study fruits and you learn about all these fruits you've never seen. Or when I walk into one of these stores here that carry a good selection of international products, and you see these things, and it tells you, well, wow, there's a whole lot more than what we know about. And when we look at the Palestinians in terms of geographically, and when we see the whole area in terms of the bigger scope of Africa and culture and food and tradition, and so there's so much opportunity to be amazed at what's new, what is cross pollination, what's unique, and what's not so unique. But you have to see it and you have to appreciate it. This is why what they're doing is such a wonderful opportunity for cultural exchange and cross pollination, or understanding the cross pollination that has already happened,
mhm.
and and how we can be more aware. That's the thing, because awareness is the by way of this exposure. Awareness is the key. Okay, so what if you don't mind, just go over the dates and times again so that people know just dates and times.
Uh, it is taking place on November 23rd at the Ag Fairgrounds at the eastern end. And the workshop begins at 11 a.m. The festival begins at noon until 6 p.m.
All right.
And everyone is invited. And like you said, learning more about somebody's culture makes you better friends.
Yeah. We did talk about this last week on the show, in our community calendar, and making sure that the community knows about it. One of the great things that's happening through the community calendar is that sometimes we are getting conflicted. There's so much to see and so much to do, and we have to just decide, well, okay, I'm gonna put my foot down, and this is what I'm going to, and this is what I'm going to, as opposed to hearing about it after the fact and say, oh, I wish I had the opportunity. So, folks, you're hearing about it here on WSTX. Hopefully, you're seeing the flyers around and other people are talking about it. But the bottom line is, through WSTX, you know that the Virgin Islands Palestinian Friendship Association is a great organization for cross pollination, for cultural exchange. And one of the things growing up here in St. Croix, I mean, one of the things that can happen is you just go to somebody's store, whether Palestinian, Indian, or a doctor's office in Filipino, and on and on and on and on and on. And that's kind of like the limit of your interaction, you know. And it's like, hey, they're people too, and we need to understand the people around us, because when we're challenged, there's strength in unity. And whatever happens here and it's affecting us is affecting them too. So it's important that we know our neighbor and understand them culturally in the context of being respectful to everyone in that context, as well as being able to pull together in challenging times to get the things that we need to get done for our community. Last I know, there's no such thing as a Palestinian pothole, or a Crucian pothole,
For
or
sure.
at least I don't know. You think that you think that they're deporting potholes and chose St. Croix as a place to accept them? I'm just saying. Uh,
Possible.
it is possible. That's how
Yeah.
come we have so many. No, but seriously though, seriously, these I use the proverbial pothole analogy because it's things that we have to deal with as a community. And
Exactly.
when you have something as a problem in your neighborhood, you can call and make your one voice be heard. But when your whole block calls, when your whole village neighborhood calls, it makes a difference. When I have an issue with WAPA, I go to my neighbors and say, hey, I'm observing this. And in fact, right now we have this situation where the power is just going up and down. You're listening to the fan, and the fan start ooh, and they go ooh, up high, and then come back down a little bit, and
Well,
whatever.
still doing that?
It start up again, Gerard.
Jesus.
It starts, you know, anyhow, it start up again.
Mhm.
So I go to my neighbors and I say, hey, this is happening here, so forth. Because I know the game. Wapa gonna say, well, you need to get an electrician and get your place checked out. But if it's happening in my neighborhood, that is out the door. It's not a individual house situation. This is a community thing, which means that your utility is doing something that's affecting my community, and we want you to do something about it. And in the same way, when I send in my report to WAPA, I give them the information that I have and say, hey, will you please go ahead and make your report also online these days, because you can't call it and you have to do it online. Um, and you do it that way. Um, this is how we as a community get responsiveness, and through binding together as neighbors. But that means that also when I see my neighbor, I say good morning, good afternoon. If I got a couple eggplant in the place, sometimes I go down there and knock on the door and they want to know what's up. And I say, hey, I just brought you something. You see the smile on the face and whatever. Now, whoever my neighbor might be, whether it's Palestinian, West Indian, North American, transplant, European, it really doesn't matter. They're my neighbor. And the preferred way to go is to get to know your neighbor. And this is an excellent opportunity for us to know neighbors that we have for all these years that for the most part we've been seeing in too often as just we interact with people because they have a business, and that's all there is to it.
Exactly. And in some ways, we're all guilty of stereotyping people. And that's something, the Friendship Festival wants to show that that's wrong, because just because somebody did this 6,000 miles away does not mean somebody here is going to do the same thing. They're different people. They were raised differently. Um, we and we're all guilty of it to some degree, and we've all faced it to some degree. So that's something we want to get past. And um, watching, seeing the videos now of the woman who's doing this social experiment, and the first religious entity that offered her help was a mosque after all
Mm-hmm.
the Christian churches. And that is something that I've learned um, with my friends here, is that sharing food is so important. Do you have enough? Do you want more? To the point where you go to somebody's house, and West Indians, Virgin Islanders are guilty of this also. Here, take this with you. Making sure that people have enough, that they're taken care of.
Well,
Um,
let me throw out an example to you, a suggestion to you along those lines. For instance, we have events like Taste of St. Croix, you know, But there's no stopping the taste of St. Croix in terms of the cultural from having in addition to cultural, here is this from this country and this from this country by the people who are represented here, you know, and as a little side attraction, so to speak. If it's not in the direct cultural vein, it's a side attraction, but it brings awareness and attention. And there's just so much. There's so much, and I'm just using food as a connection. You know, there's a grain called farro that I recently discovered, and I really, really like it. Like just like how I like rice, or you same way you could do peas and rice with it even, and but I had to travel thousands of miles to happen to be at somebody's house and they happen to fix it, and it's like, what is this? This is great. Is this something special, or I could go in the market and get it? I could go in the market and get it, but I never knew about it, and the culinary use, the nutritional value, so forth and so on. And I think there's lots of room where food is a vehicle by which you, how should I put it, the ties that bind in your community. Food is one of them, and I'm saying that I wouldn't be surprised if somebody said, "What kind of food they don't eat?" I mean, and I'm saying it for whoever out there might openly say it or not say it or be thinking it. What kind of food they don't eat? Do they eat fungi and fish? What do they eat? And as simplistic as that may seem, it's part of the ties that bind. All right.
Exactly.
And so it's great that they're having this event out there at the agricultural fairgrounds where they can have all that type of setup in that sense. So just make sure they know that if Doug was there, he'd be wanting to get some samples of something. Not. Yeah, I ain't saying feed me. It could be just something on a toothpick, and I take this up and it has a little thing explaining what it is and how it's made and whatever, and I can taste it and say, I like it, I don't like it, it's interesting, whatever the case may be. Food is one of the important ties that bind.
Exactly. Funny story. The Virgin Islands Palestinian Friendship Association, our office has taken over the office in Ashley Home Store. So that's where we're based. And there is a kitchen in there where Ahmad and Baker often cook. And last year during Ramadan, I was in there working almost every day. And during the day, of course, because they don't eat during the day and they eat in the evening. But as Ahmad cooking and making salads and things, I was the taste tester. And it was fabulous. Oh my goodness. I mean, I didn't taste any of the meat, but anything else, especially the salads. Oh my gosh, the salads are so good. And there was one time, I believe it was Baker made, and I don't remember the name of it. And they keep telling me, like I said and apologized for before, I'm so bad at other languages and accents. But it's sort of like a pita type bread with onions. I personally hate onions. I take them off everything. I'll pick them out of the spices and the seasonings. I would have never guessed. So it was just onions on top of the bread. Oh my gosh, it is so good, so good. And I keep dropping very loud hints that when they're preparing food for the Friendship Festival, if they make this, I would be happy for the rest of my life. So, the experiences you have, like you said, between food really brings people together. And, if you're a good chef, you understand that, okay, some people may not like something, and you say, okay, well, if you don't like this, here, try this. This is something you may like. So there are choices, but that connection between food and the sharing of food and the sharing of enjoying that people are learning about your culture through food, and that food brings on conversation, and that conversation brings on friendship. And that's the point of the event, to bring people together, get to know each other a little better, share friendship. So
Yeah.
we're,
Well,
we're really looking forward to the event.
yeah, and I've made that onions transition because all the years I would have that stewed fish in front of me and the onions and see me picking them off and moving them to the side. Now, now I love onions in
Okay.
terms of how we cook them, whether it's with the stew fish or when done right with a steak. The fact of the matter is that that's how you learn how something you think you don't like, and then all of a sudden you're eating something and you notice this, and it's like
But,
you just get taken off guard like that. But
Dougie, I still don't like onions, but I do love that dish. I still pick them off. If they put them on my veggie burger, I take them off.
I
But
can tell them
that dish is
not to tell you
wonderful.
anymore. Make sure they don't tell you anymore. So
Right.
because that's a psychological thing there. You have to go to onion therapy.
No,
Well,
what they need to do, they need to mince it so she don't recognize it.
there you go. There you go.
Right, right.
Right.
Yeah. So this one of the things that might be interesting in terms of the next time around. Um, some of these dishes that they do, salads that they do, so forth and so on. Maybe we could put some mics on some folks and put some strategic cameras and just do a little type interview, documentary, whatever the case may be, to share with the public in the future. That's their version of this is how we do it, and that's a tool. That's a tool that transcends one particular time in that with YouTube slash um, Facebook and all this other stuff these days, it gives an opportunity because anything in that gets the opportunity to show how much we have in common
Mhm.
and show how we have so many things that are different that hey is different that I like. That's I got this young man who, if you give him a chance, he'll stay in his room and be on his phone and computer and so forth. I said, there's a real world out there. There's a whole lot that you can't see, taste, touch unless you come out of that room. And so in this case, we have a bigger room, meaning the agricultural fairground that so many people can come into and meet so many people and see what all we have in common and how appealing some of the things that we don't have in common are. Yeah.
I know
So.
last year we had the smaller event at Botanical Gardens,
Hmm.
and when people got up to do the Palestinian dance, uh, the people who in the crowd, the people who had come to the event, had so much fun dancing. With different music. Even the Marca Jembis were dancing to the music, which was great fun. To see them on their stilts dancing. So that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to is when the quadrille dancers and the Dapka dancers teach each other uh, their dance. I think that's going to be kind of what the afternoon is about, sharing culture.
Well, I have a twist on all of these things you mentioned because the dancing, we got people come here from all over the world to
Mhm.
do country music slash quadrille dancing and among other things, right? What music is universal, and have folks who say, "Well, I listen to reggae music and I listen to calypso music," but there are many of us out here who listen to music from classical all the way to gospel. We just listen to music and have an appreciation for music, and maybe maybe we need some um, I'm gonna call it for our discussion Palestinian music. I'm gonna call it that. Whatever genre it's in. Some listening sessions for some of our musical artists, young and otherwise, and say, well, how you could create a um, a song, whether it be calypso, reggae, whatever, and incorporate some of these rhythms into it. And I say that there's a song by that that was written and put together by Mars Van David and La Vi,
Mhm.
and it's calypso, is Hispanic, and is rap. And you know, I've met people who say, "Well, I don't like rap music." And some of those people I said, and listen to that song. What do you think of it? Like it? Think of it? And they said, "Wow, that's creative. I like that." You know. And so
I
again,
tell you,
cross pollination. You never know. Go ahead, Jared.
the one that really impressed me was, remember that young lady that was singing the calypso in the village? I think it was Mo's daughter, and then she
Yes,
sang the song in English, and when she do it again, she sang it in Arabic.
yes,
That was impressive.
yes,
That was
yes. They call her the Crucian Arab. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
and
Arab, yeah,
yeah,
You know,
she was definitely an ambassador.
yeah,
We have to dig up what footage we have of her and bring that out.
yeah. Because I was like, wow. I mean, that was impressive.
Doug, as you're talking about that, formulating things in my brain, like some sort of um, cross-cultural music exchange we could do, maybe in the springtime, put something like that together.
Yeah,
I think would be and to have students there too, especially students who are interested in writing music. I think, yeah, that's definitely something. We'll talk at length about putting that together.
yes,
Okay?
yes. We definitely have to
Great
follow up.
idea.
I'm just being inspired by what you guys are doing, and
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it happens from on an island basis.
Mhm.
You have Dominican cooking, Crucian cooking, et cetera, Hispanic cooking. You have all of these. It's done on a island slash cultural basis, and we have our culture is so much more diverse that there are all these opportunities. So as they come to my mind, I'm making notes here because it's so easy to talk about something, then you walk away, you forget, you get overcome by other things. So I'm making some notes here because it's something I would really like to see we investigate or otherwise give it a chance, because when I look at it, like I said, that one song from Mars Van David, I said, wow, you bring together things that people just don't expect. That and now in that context, and it's so powerful. It's so powerful.
Yeah,
And
I
by the way, in that song, there's this is a phrase in the rap, uh, keep left, live right. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
right now I'm keeping right to live right on the road.
I see it as, what we would identify here as Virgin Islands music as the foundation, and all of the different types of music as different floors, or the tree the tree with the different branches. So the foundation is local,
Hmm.
with all these branches that come out from it, with the interaction and the respect between cultures, can make something really, really wonderful.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, and the
So,
thing is, and on the music side, one of the things that, for instance, is that you really have to do like listening sessions and
Mhm.
introduce people and whatever, so that they can embrace it and be creative in that context. And that again is another opportunity for interaction. So
And
I'm making my
yeah,
notes.
sorry. One of the reasons people say they don't like music, a certain type of music or a certain genre of music, it's just because they haven't heard it.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't listened to it. Now, I have one genre of music that I absolutely hate, and I'm not going to say it because somebody would trick me as I go down the stairs. But it's not local music at all. I love local music, but a lot of it, it's a sound, it's a beat, it's a tempo you're not used to hearing, so you think you don't like it, but the more you hear it, like, oh wait, yeah, and all of a sudden you start tapping your feet or
Well, I can't take heavy metal. No,
yeah,
that doesn't compute in my brain.
that's not a favorite of mine, but it's not the one I'm talking
No,
about,
I
which
just
I
can't
am
take that,
not
but
gonna say.
If you want to get into the conversation or to ask the guest a question,
Mhm.
the number to call is 340-773-0390 or 773-0490. Call in and give us your opinion or comments on what the guest is talking about.
Right, fantastic. All right. And Gerard,
What's
don't
up?
be putting your public thoughts about music you like for somebody tripping you up going down the stairs, okay?
I don't give a flute.
High road, high road, high road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
But
no, I just can't take it. I had a friend that was his thing, his heavy metal business, and I'm like, I used to watch this dude like crazy because it was like, it gave me a migraine just
There,
listening to it.
I agree. There are a few songs, not a lot, but there are some songs that are okay. I guess
well,
they kind of border between rock and roll and heavy metal. So,
Yeah,
but generally speaking, that's not a genre I listen to.
right. And but the thing is that even in listening to the components that
we
people
we have a
pick
Canada here.
from. Like for instance, just a quick note, the way the Isley Brothers took that guitar and brought it into quote unquote soul music or whatever you want to call it. I mean, that was something that before that kind of guitar in our music and so, your music belongs to everybody. Anyhow, go
Yep,
ahead, Jared. Hmm.
Carla, you on the air? Good morning.
Yes, good morning again, sir.
Uh huh. Talk to me.
Yes, I'm listening to you all and to your guests. And I've
Uh-huh.
heard her before, but only now I'm paying attention to the fact that she does not speak like a Palestinian.
Uh,
Well, hey, I'm gonna be a little facetious now. She look like one.
She doesn't speak like one at all, so
Oh
evidently
my.
she's been on Synchroid for a long time. So she should be able to talk like a Crucian. We there,
Listen, I can't see what she look like. So don't study,
Well,
don't study my report.
well, I gonna tell you.
Yes.
let me tell you, I have been here a very long time, but as I said earlier, I am absolutely horrible in other languages and accents. And I apologize for. I spent in high school. I tried to learn Spanish, didn't work. In college, I tried to learn French, didn't work. A couple of years ago, I spent a year and a half trying to learn Haitian Creole, doesn't work. So it is my failure that I cannot speak proper Prussian. I have been on St. Croix a long time, almost 34 years, and 12 years on St. Thomas before that.
Is that right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I am from St. Thomas. You do very well, so don't feel no way. But let me just say quickly that you have that fault in that maybe you can't or afraid to pronounce words, in another language. I am forced to say words in particularly two languages every day because of the neighborhood I live in, Spanish and Patois. such compliments.
Mhm.
But my big problem as a man, as we would say, is remembering names. You could tell me a name a million times, I'm not going to remember it.
Mhm.
And that problem is so much more so with women. So that's why I call all women sweethearts.
Okay.
I ain't gonna remember the names of all of them.
You should have been behaving yourself. That's why you would only have to remember one.
But
Well, that is so much. You know, you run into people every day, and you would want to call them by their name, but that's a really big problem I have. And everybody that I see and talk with every day, they call me by my name. Oh, do you remember my name? I can't remember yours.
Well, if I talk to you every day, I will remember your name. Okay, I will remember your voice.
That's when I never forget Dougie.
Huh?
I want to forget.
I will remember your voice and your name. But then
Yes, the voice I remember.
if you let some time go by, then I forget everything.
Yes, the voice I remember, but not the name.
Because the
That's
mental
where let someone else come in.
the mental Rolodex, I have to delete stuff that you don't use,
All
to
right.
make room for the new ones.
That's right.
I know that's right.
Yeah, I mean, as a blind person, I have a lot of brain power, but sometimes the hard drive need to delete something.
Now let me correct you. You're not blind. You're not even non-sighted. Thank you very much.
I'm visually impaired.
Okay. All right.
But I'm non-sighted, but I have a lot of vision.
Good.
There you go.
Okay then.
All right.
Have a good rest of the day.
Okay,
care.
you do the same. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
all right. Well, I can just say this for Mr. Nibs, benefit is sometimes you can't win. Yes, ma'am. I'm not a mom. What are you calling me, mom? Yes, young lady. What I look like? So it's like sometimes you try whatever if you can't remember names, but at least you're making the effort, and that's the important thing. You're making the effort in that regards. But no, it's
Dougie, one thing
mhm.
that I failed to do, which was truly awful, is to mention our sponsors.
Okay,
And I'm not going
we're
to
gonna
go.
get to that. We're gonna get to
Okay.
that right now. What I'd like you to do first, just as a precursor to that, is the basics of the event. What, when, where, and
Okay.
then the sponsors.
The event is Sunday, November 23rd at 11 a.m. in the pavilion. Will be the oral history, how to tell your oral history workshop, and that's open to everybody. The festival, the Friendship Festival, begins at noon, and we, like I said, we are in the eastern part where they do the Saturday morning market, and we will be there from noon until 6. We've got great entertainment, Classic Touch, Toby and Pio. We've got We Day Yeah. Was that close?
Close enough.
Thank
We
you.
did
Close
it.
enough. Good.
Uh,
Quick
the
learner.
vaudeville dancers, and they're wonderful. I love watching them dance. And we've got the Palestinian DAPCA group, which is Talbisi, I believe is the name. Again, don't yell at me, please. And then we'll be finishing off the entertainment later in the afternoon with Fire Train. So I think we've got a good mix of entertainment.
Yeah,
We've
sounds
got
alright.
the Guardians of Culture, Monko Jumbies, Starlight Twirlers.
And don't forget the Children's Museum is going to be there.
Yes, the Children's Museum, Jungle James Petting Zoo. Um, the People Dam will have a community art project and storytelling for children. We have bouncies and a henna artist, Rebel Jen, who is a art teacher here and an artist. And I understand she does spectacular henna art. She'll be there. I'm looking forward to that.
All right.
I might last year I only had one, like the back of my hand and forearm done. This year I think I might do both. Really go all out with the henna art. We've got local food. We've got Juicy and her fashions, Melody with makeup. We've got uh, Dana, who does the different teas. She'll be out. Um, Josie Urgent with her flavored corn and things, and just so much going on. So there'll be a lot going on during the day, and we really want everybody. We'd love to have you come out and stay, or if you want to pass by, come through, and you can come back and forth a couple of times. That's great.
Okay.
But
Well,
we really want the community to come out and have fun.
all right. So let's talk about sponsors because I love the people who help to get
Just
big up
did.
as much as
No,
possible.
those were the vendors.
Oh, that was the vendors.
Those
Okay.
were the vendors, yes. Well, I'd like to thank VI Lottery as one of our sponsors. They've made a very generous donation. Blue Sky Realty, Corinne and her sister, thank you so much. We've got Savi's Laundromat. We've got Ashley Furniture. Pueblo is they are donating the food for the Palestinian food, which is just truly incredible. So we thank them so much. And there's so many other GMAX, um, Catherine's Rest Supermarket, and I'm not going to go through the whole list, but there's so many. WIR Supermarket, Golden Rock Tanks. So many people have donated. We will have the full list on display, so we do urge you to please patronize the.
All right. Well, what you do is just send me a text listing of all of your your sponsors. Send me a text listing of all your sponsors or people you want to recognize, and we'll see if we can fit that in. Also, since we're going to be here again before the actual
Wonderful.
event. Okay.
Yeah. And the
Fantastic.
sponsors on Syncroid, and not just for our event, they really are truly wonderful how they support local groups, and we are truly appreciative of what they do, not only for our nonprofit. And that's another announcement. We were officially recognized as a 501c3 in May, so we are a federally recognized nonprofit organization. So everybody who donates to us does. I will be sending out lots of tax letters, thank you, notes for their taxes. They can
Okay.
use on their taxes. So
Fantastic.
Wonderful. That is wonderful. That is fantastic.
we're
All
really
right. Well, I have one regret is that I'm not going to be there. I'm
Don't
not
worry,
going
you're
to be
right there,
there.
there, each for me and you.
there you go.
Yeah,
And
I
take
know,
pictures,
I
right?
know, but
Yeah,
Take pictures of how much you're enjoying.
yeah. I have the Meta smart glasses.
Uh-huh.
I'll make sure I wear them that day, and I'll take pictures of everything.
Wonderful.
all right, fantastic, fantastic. Gerard on technology and add that with Palestinian food and dance. Hey, I think it's gonna be really something to see, folks. For all of you out there who hear Gerard's voice and maybe see him here, look out for him on the road. Definitely, let him know.
Yeah,
Let him know. Reinforce the fact that the celebrity that he is. Okay.
yeah. That's
All
gonna be
right.
another VIL day because Vitron don't run
Oh
that day.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, it doesn't go without saying. I'm so glad that you mentioned that because we started out talking this morning about the situation with transportation here in the Virgin Islands, and I mean it's almost like a disdain for the proletariat. you know, they we don't have sidewalks without obstructions. I mean, that's just for your own mobility, but then you get to things like taxi service, and now we have
We need about 6 hours to talk about all that.
yeah, and then you have VI Hail and everything and all of that. So we're down to a few minutes before the hour, and I
Yeah.
want to thank you, Liz, for getting in touch with me, and
So we thank
definitely,
you for coming.
Mhm.
Don't be a stranger.
You know I'm here.
And
I-
while you're at it, make sure you get Gerard's number, okay? So if you don't reach me, you can coordinate to him, and we talk all the time.
Right.
Yeah. So
And if
get Gerard's
anybody,
number.
anybody
Mhm.
wants any information about the event,
Mhm.
my phone number, which everybody I think on St. Croix has already, is 340-771-4420. So if you have any questions,
771-4420.
yes. Yeah.
So write that down, Dougie.
No,
Okay,
you
sir.
write it down.
Yeah.
No, well, you send it to me then.
Okay, I got her number. I'm just saying, it's all good. It's all good. Yes. Well,
Okay.
it's great that you came in and talk about this. Anything that helps us to come together as a community, unify and get things done. This is how we do it, and this is where it starts right here at WSTX. If not in your living room, if not on the beach, if not when you're walking down the street and you bump into somebody, for sure it happening on WSTX. All right, but keep all the rest going. It's all part of community. And your community minded station, WSTX, is here saying, hey, share the love, folks. Love's in need of love every day all over the world, but charity begins at home, right here on St. Croix. All right,
Yep.
good
And if
thing.
you want to be like Jerry, do a random act.
Oh, please. Liz, I'm working on him. It's supposed to be a random act of kindness.
Do a random act. Have a great weekend, people. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place.
All right.
That was good.